This will be my outlook on relationships now between man and woman. Pretty much across the spectrum, there's issues between the man and the woman, but clearly in the in the black community, the issue is brought and put on a whole nother level for marketing brands, for marketing reasons, and whatever. You know, the new way of women's thinking. You know, my outlook on it is, I'm gonna just say it out the gate to go ahead and get it out the way. A lot of it is men's fault because we've done a lot of things which society say we're guilty of, and it's the problem in our community. It's two sides to everything, you know what I mean? And no, we can't really relive our grandparents' life, those that are my age, those that are 35 and up, I would say. It's really hard to go in the mentality of what you seen with your grandparents, how your grandmother thought, how your grandfather thought, and the issues they had. So it's really hard to have a grasp on how it's supposed to be because it's been so fuzzy for so long. But it comes a point in time in life through experience, you have to go back in your catalog, in your life, and look back and see the error in the things that you've done to make your life with someone else not go where y'all might have thought it's supposed to go. Now, I don't want to like overcomplicate this, but I'm just trying to really simplify it and give it to you the way I give it to you from my lens and from other people's lens that, you know, we talk about it all the time. The men have, you know, we kind of dropped the ball in a lot of areas. Some by force, some by just not being knowledgeable about how things should go. Because maybe somewhere we had poor examples of how it's supposed to go. But like I said, this is your life. You live it and you leave it on your own, just you. So you have to be accountable at some point. You know, and I believe if these conversations were had with children, or where they could really, you know, these conversations do be had, don't get me wrong. But where it could be like something to really learn from, like you learn English in school, like, you know, it should be a part of learning the social construct of life and knowing that you only have one and it's yours. You're in control of it, whatever comes of it. But to get back to the thing, you know, man, we dropped the ball. And like I said, this thing has been, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or some fucking genius to just be knowledgeable of things that are there for you to get knowledge from. It's there. You can go look these things up. It has been a plan for it to be this way for a long time now. It was systematically weaved out this way. But as human beings, we have to understand that you adapt and grow because things are not going to stay the same forever. And it's all, like I said, all these things are elements of life, things you go through, you learn from. As men, in my time, we've done a lot of things that could, you know, really break a woman. So I understand the mindset of the women today and where it's at today, because they did have to do a lot of things on their own. Granted. But I want to say to women, you deserve all the credit for that. You know, you deserve a lot more appreciation than you get for that. However, it's a real element to this. Like, statistically, it's more women than men. So our mistakes and our bad decisions are going to be, you know, magnified times two because of the number and the statistics between man and woman. So you're going to have things that happen in relationships that's not good for relationships happen because of the unbalanced scale, and a man has more to choose from. More options, I should say. And a woman's natural state is not to move the way that a man would move and give herself at the rate that a man gives himself. So we have to stand in the reality of that. You know, that is what it is. I don't think that's never going to change. I think that's always, I know that it's always been that way, as we clearly see, because as women say, it has gotten worse. So we've seen that for a long amount of time, at least for all our lives, there's always been a tip in the scale favoring men when it comes to having options of sleeping around, because naturally that's what a man think he's supposed to do, or that's naturally what men do from boy to man. And girls, not as often, because it's not naturally in them. But back to the right now, the things that we take for granted, which is reality, and we decide to base everything off of feeling and off of someone else's thinking. We're pointing a finger back and forth at each other when all we have to do is just turn and take a self-evaluation, take a self-check, and be real with your self-check, and be willing and want and have the want to change the mindset, so those decisions that you made in relationships, you won't forwardly go through making those same type decisions. It doesn't mean that you pull away out the game and say, I just be by myself and I don't want a man, and go off and get you a career and whatever it may be, and just decide to not ever, be involved with a man. That's the mindset of the woman now, because for so long they've done so much that they feel that they don't need a man. But the trick in that is you have a pocket of women that think that way, and you have a whole nother group of women, probably on a greater scale, that thinks the opposite, that wants a man, that wants your man. You don't want him, I want him. So I think women because I don't want to make this about them and make it look like they're wrong in the decisions they make. I'm just saying, in reality, it's like it's fighting, punching a brick wall and messing up those beautiful hands. Because if that's your decision to do that, be that. That's your decision to be that way. That's your decision to, if you want to speak openly about it and inform other women of your thinking, that's your right to do that. But as men, I think we really need to tone it back. It's not about what you cats would call simpish behavior or beta behavior. What I'm seeing that I thought had some validity to it at a time now has become a fucking shit show like everything else. And men really being beta and simpish by talking openly against a woman when we have no problem holding accountability to things we do. We don't have that problem. But we knew they felt this way forever. So that's just how they go on and speak about it. Our job is to shut the fuck up, let them speak about it, and continue to be with the ones that don't think that way. So I think we went overboard in our responses to their talk, their mindset, where they choose to be right now in life. Those are ones who speak out like that. And I think, social media pundits came along and really really fucked that idea up, where a man can say, okay, hold on, granted what you saying cool, but this is how we feel. Y'all thinking y'all can go in our mind. Okay, we go into your mind, this how you look. And hold up a mirror and show her how she's thinking is really, she need to do some self-reflecting. Niggas didn't fuck that all the way up. Well, now you can't even, it's hard for you to get that message across, because niggas then came along and became a little sassy in their messaging to women. And now when they say these things, you have to really look at it well, there's a lot of niggas fucking it up. Well, a real man can, or and I'm going to say a real man, because a real man's going to go mess with the woman who can understand his point of view as well. But you have men that can't even say that now, because they can, but it looks very sassy. It's not going to be accepted by the woman. Now you just really just finger pointing now, because they're not accepting that message anymore. Things happen on this earth, and God bless him, but it died with Kevin Samuels. Now you got all these clowns running these fucking goofy laps, spinning their tire in the mud, and it's putting mud up on all the guys. The guys that don't understand how it's supposed to be. But the guys from afar can look at it like, I knew this would happen. But that way of thinking and that way of outwardly speaking passed away with that man, because he the one gave it a voice. And I believe that it was just for his voice at that time to give it. That's why it was short-lived. You know what I'm saying? That women heard it. A lot of women reacted to it and understood it from a male's view, and seeing the error in some of the ways that they were thinking. A lot of women learned from it. But now these cats is carrying on with it, and really fucking it up, because you type of niggas, you're not gonna garner respect from no woman no way, because you really don't know how to fucking carry yourself. Look how you really sassying with a woman going back and forth. It's at this point, there's nothing to be said. It's all been said before. Now it's on them. They understand the way we thinking now. Okay, we see y'all. Don't think we don't see how y'all thinking. Okay, boom, let it be what it is. So we have this ongoing war that's really unwarranted, but it's, it's a part of life. Because like I said, this shit has been going on forever. It's been going on for a very, very, very long time. It was going on with my parents and with my grandparents, and I went through it. And I have children that have touched the surface of going through it. But of course, as everything else on this beautiful earth, when it comes to specifically the inner, the burden falls on our beautiful women. Once again, heavy is the head to wear the crown. You know what I mean? So the woman gives life. So, it makes her a whole lot different than man. Even though, biologically we want to speak, the man plants the seed, but the woman gives birth to that child. No child enters this earth without the womb of a woman. So, that's a heavy burden to bear itself, but it's a blessing from somewhere else. So the burden again falls on the woman to understand, like, okay, if you choose to live this way, and don't want to deal with a man because of what you've been through with a man or several men, hey, do what you have to do. But just understand there's a lot more women that's willing to bite the bullet, as y'all may say, if it's a bad thing. And it's kind of messed up because Steve Harvey came along with that book. Like I said, if you want to look at everything, this thing has been systematically designed. You go back to the queen of all queens of selling the message of this way, but really live her personal life this way. Was, and all the independent ladies and put a ring on and all these things. It started a super mindset. Then you see basketball wives that start coming around the reality TV with all these women who married to these guys with money, and they live in this way and think in this type of way and showing you openly what they going through with their super rich husband. So the woman who doesn't make millions of dollars, who work an everyday job, who had children she had to take care of, got that mindset of this woman who living this extravagant life off of this basketball player success. Even though she married into it, so it's part of hers as well. But she's showing you that their issues and just how she thinking, like, well, fuck it, I could do it by myself, and I'm strong. So it became a way for all women. And then Steve Harvey came along with a book and said, think like a man, act like a woman. Like, a fucking oxymoron, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way possible for a woman to think like a man, because a woman usually thinks off of emotion. We do shit in our actions as men without emotion. A lot of things we can do, we can operate without emotion. So it's impossible for a woman to get inside of the brain of a man unless she fully understands herself. And of course she can look at a man and understand his flaws, of what society says is flawed, what we've been taught our whole life, and what we feel on our inside. Feel on our inside, don't feel right. So a lot of women is not able to think like a man because she's looking at it from her point of view and from her emotional point of view. So you can't do it, you know what I'm saying? And then it just built and it became so marketable. And so the new algorithm, if you want to use that word for whatever reason, became the independent woman, especially the independent black woman who doesn't need a man. But when you look at the reality of it, even the woman that says she doesn't need a man don't mean that she don't want one and don't desire one and know that she needs one, really, because it balances her out. It's like the woman balances the man out. And I think our soul yearns for balance at some point. At some points in life it may teeter, a 30, 40% different, 20% difference, but the soul yearns for balance because it's a fight between good and evil, because we are both. Because we dealing in our will. We can do whatever we want. We can think however we want. So it's impossible for a woman to think like a man. And it's not really, we can't think like a woman because we can't really go to the emotional depth that y'all go through on the things that y'all truly believe in. We want to, we understand it, but we can never like fathom it or see it because the depths of the emotion reaches deeper with a woman. Not saying that we don't have emotions. I think we walk around with the most emotions, you know what I mean, outwardly, because we have to deal in the manhood thing and the bravado. So keeping your bravado built all day out here in this mean world, that's, you know, you dealing from a mental place, but you still dealing off emotions because it's a respect thing. So it's just like like I said, it's the balance, it's the fight. We just got to stop the finger pointing. You know what I mean? I think that'll make it better. Everybody understand who they are and stand in who you are. You know what I mean? And I don't think it would ever change, but it can most definitely make it where it's not causing as much trauma as it caused, because that's what it's really about. It caused a lot of trauma. But that's just my look on it. It may have been long-winded. It may have been, you know, it's just my thoughts just going, you know what I mean, about the thing, because I wanted to put it there. So if you hear further conversations on the shows and you hear how I talk or the rhetoric, you will understand that it's coming from a genuine place, but it just may be coming across not malicious, you know, not to malign nobody, but just come across in different tone. But I wanted to let you know the true mindset of it before you even get a chance to hear it, you know. So see y'all on the other side.